By Sri Lanka's best internet package for online learning and online working with many amazing offers. Call 1212 for more information. Sri Lanka Telecom.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට එකක් බොමු.
Tonight, cautious optimism. Sri Lanka goes through 24 hours with no new cases as Cabinet okays preschool reopenings from 1st August. The inaction saga. Intel officer tells Easter Commission IGP and CID had list of Islamic extremists as far back as 2017. Living the life. Arrests of Negombo prison chief ordered as drug racketeers' luxury accommodation revealed in court. Getting ready. The Bandaranaike International Airport gets a security upgrade with new high-tech scanners. All this and much more coming up on this Wednesday, the 22nd of July 2020.
Nava sunlight sakura. Then Dikukal pavathina sakura mal suwandin.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A very good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Shanella Fernando in your top stories for tonight. The Negombo Magistrate Court today issued arrest warrants for 4 suspects, including interdicted former superintendent of the Negombo prison remand prison, Anuruddha Sampaio. The ruling was made following facts presented by the CID with regards to investigations on collusion between prison officials and drug racketeers at the prison.
The Attorney General has instructed the CID to obtain arrest warrants against the interdicted former superintendent of the Negombo prison, Anuruddha Sampaio, Chief Jailers Sarath Bandara and Nishantha Naratna, and Jailer Kalinga Kalu Aggala for providing a refrigerator to a prison inmate. Following this decision, the former superintendent of the Negombo prison submitted a writ application to the appeals court asking for a restraining order against his arrest, naming the Secretary to the Ministry of Justice S.M. Mohammed, Commissioner General of Prisons Tushara Upul-Denia, the Attorney General and the Director of the CID as respondents. The petition was taken into consideration before the appeals court bench headed by Chairman A.H.H.D. Nawaz. In his petition, the former superintendent of the Negombo prison says the provision of electronic items to prison inmates is permitted under Section 196 of the Prisons Ordinance, which makes his arrest on these grounds illegal. Attorney for the petitioner, Upul Jayasuriya, informed court that a date is to be requested to inform the Attorney General and hear the petition via a motion. Hence, the bench granted permission and informed the petitioner to obtain a date to consider the petition via motion. In the meantime, the CID appeared in front of the Negombo Magistrates Court this afternoon with regards to the investigations into corruption between prison officers and drug racketeers. Representing the CID, Deputy Solicitor General Dileepa Piri stated that the Attorney General has ordered the CID to file court action against 4 suspects on charges of aiding and abetting, conspiracy and forgery of documents under the Penal Code. The Deputy Solicitor General requested the magistrate to issue arrest warrants against the suspects due to requirements under Section 215 of the Penal Code. Following this, the court heard evidence from Chief Inspector Buddhika Jayasekara of the CID's Homicide Investigation Division. Chief Inspector Jayasekara told courts that an investigation into corruption and misconduct within the Negombo prison was conducted by the CID as per complaint lodged by the Defence Secretary to the acting IGP. He revealed that 8 mobile phones, 8 SIM cards, 414 cigarettes, a bottle of Blue Label whiskey and many other illegal items were discovered in the L ward during the inspection. The Chief Inspector added that an electric oven, an electric kettle, a mattress, a 2-door refrigerator and an almirah with clothes were found in some cells. Chief Inspector Jayasekara also revealed that an Iranian drug racketeer named Aman Sheikh had stayed in prison cell number 2, racketeer Austin has stayed in prison cell number 7, and a racketeer named Pintu had stayed in cell number 8 in the L ward. The Chief Inspector further stated that electrical equipment can only be taken into prison as a donation and with the express permission of the Commissioner General of Prisons. He also added that the Superintendent of the prisons has no power to grant permission for such items to be taken into the prison. The court was told that investigations had revealed that all of these electronic items were taken into the prison using fake documents on the instructions of Prison Superintendent Anuruddha Sampayo. He also said that the CID has taken into custody 12 such forged documents prepared by prison guards. Following facts being presented to the courts, Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Piris requested the issuing of warrants against the respondents. What's more, he also stated that payments had been charged by the former superintendent of the Nigambo prison to detain 13 inmates supposed to be detained in the Mahara prison at the L ward instead. The Solicitor General revealed that the prison superintendent had operated a private boarding house inside the prison for wealthy inmates. After considering the facts presented, Nigambo Magistrate Indigo Silva ordered the arrest of the 4 suspects involved.
The Presidential Commission of Inquiry was told today that information on the whereabouts of Easter attack suspects as far back as 2017 was provided to the IGP and the CID, but no action was taken to arrest them. This was revealed by an intelligence officer active in the Eastern Province in the lead-up to the Easter attacks. He added that both the IGP and the CID were given lists of over 100 names connected to the National Tawheed Jamaat organization during that period.
The Presidential Commission of Inquiry investigating the Easter Sunday attacks today heard evidence from an intelligence official active in the Eastern Province in the lead-up to the attacks. The intelligence officer told the commission that following the clash at the Aliyar junction between Zaran Hashim's group and a rival group, warrants were issued by the Batticaloa Magistrates Court against suspects Zaran Hashim, Rilwan Hashim, Ami Mohideen and Yusuf Anwar. He revealed that Zaran's brother Rilwan, who was a fugitive at the time, had paid a nighttime visit to his wife and his newborn child at a residence of which the address was number 309 upon D, Farinas Road, 2nd Cross Street, Ariampati East. He added that despite a warrant for the arrest of Yusuf Anwar, the suspect had continued to openly operate a tailor shop in Katankudi town and no action was taken by police to apprehend him at the time. Intelligence officers had also discovered the whereabouts of a suspect, Ami Mohideen, who was hiding out at a house located on an empty property in Pasikuda. The commission was also told that this information was provided to the Criminal Investigation Department in March 2019, following which an intel team was dispatched to Pasikuda on the 7th of March. The witness also revealed that although state intelligence officials had concrete information regarding the whereabouts of Rilwan Hashim, including an exact map position of his hideout, as well as the location of Zaran's brother Mohammad Zaini, no action was taken by the CID to arrest the suspects. Further, he revealed that details of 94 National Tawheed Jamaat members had been provided to IGP Pujit Jayasundara in 2017, and a further 129 names had been given to the CID in 2018. Meanwhile, investigative officers of the Easter Commission engaged in an inspection of the Topur Arms Training Camp operated by Zaran Hashim. Information on the 15-acre property was uncovered during interrogation of suspect Ibrahim Sadiq in connection with the Mawanalla Buddha statue vandalism incident. It was also determined that Zaran Hashim had paid visits to the camp on many occasions. The owner of the property had been listed as Haja Mohideen, a businessman from Topur.
The National Centre for the Prevention of COVID-19 says no fresh cases were detected in the country during the past 24-hour period, making it the first since the 22nd of June. However, this was short-lived when just one patient was detected today. In the meantime, identifying the imperative need for speedy and immediate measures to be adopted to contain the spread of COVID-19 while preventing infections among the community, Secretary to the President Dr. P.B. Jayasundara has issued a Gazette notification broadening the territory of the COVID-19 task force, noting a tendency at present towards coronavirus infections among those addicted to drugs and inmates of the prisons. The Gazette also entrusts the task force with matters relating to them. For the first time since the 22nd of June, no cases of COVID-19 were reported in the country yesterday. However, a close contact of an infected from the Kandakadu Rehabilitation Centre tested positive this evening. Commenting on the currently active Kandakadu cluster, Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavindra Silva states that the cluster has been brought under control.
කන්දකාඩුවල ඔය ආසාදනය වෙච්ච අයවලුන් විශේෂයෙන්ම පවුල්වල ආසාදනය වෙච්ච අයවලුන් හමුුනේ නිරෝධායන වෙමින් සිටියේදී. ඉතින් ඒ අනුව අපිට හැකියාව ලැබුණා මෙය සමාජගත වීම වළක්වා ගැනීමෙන් ආශ්‍රිතයන්ට පමණක් සීමා කර ගැනීමට මේ දක්වා අපිට හැකියාව ලැබිලා තිබෙනවා.
In other developments, the country's recoveries continue to rise exponentially, and with the latest 16 recoveries, the total now stands at 2,064. However, 655 people still remain as active cases. In the meantime, 1,100 PCR tests were conducted yesterday to identify COVID-19 carriers, and accordingly, health authorities placed the total number of PCR tests conducted so far in the country at 141,515. In more developments, Minister of Health Pavitra Vanyarachi today revealed that the Cabinet has agreed to open all preschools island-wide from the 1st of August, taking the current situation in the country into consideration.
අධ්‍යාපන අමාත්‍යතුමාත් ඒ වගේම සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යවරයා විදියට මමත් එකඟ වුණා කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයේදී අගෝස්තු මාසේ පළවෙනිදා සිට පෙර පාසල් නැවත ලංකාව පුරා ආරම්භ කිරීමට.
Meanwhile, the Students' Union of the Kelaniya University accused the administration of failing to provide proper accommodation to students in accordance with COVID-19 health guidelines. As a result, about 150 students are residing temporarily in the university cafeteria. Meanwhile, a discussion was held at the Ministry of Health today with the participation of representatives of the Public Health Inspectors Association, who have withdrawn from COVID-19 prevention activities, officials of the Ministry of Health and the Government Medical Officers Association. Further, the Secretary to the President yesterday issued a Gazette notification broadening the scope of the Presidential Task Force, including the Triforces, with the objective of preventing the spread of COVID-19. The Gazette shows that there is a tendency at present of the virus being spread among drug addicts and prison inmates. The Gazette directs that matters relating to those addicted to drugs under rehabilitation and inmates of the prisons to be attended to by the task force. The Bandar Naik International Airport on Monday received an upgrade of its baggage screening systems. Chairman of the Airport and Aviation Services of Sri Lanka, retired Major General G.A. Chandrasiri, stated that the new high-tech machines were required to make the airport compliant with international safety and security standards.
High-tech equipment consisting of the latest technology in detection systems was introduced to the baggage screening facilities at the Bandar Naik International Airport on Monday. According to the Civil Aviation Authority, the upgrade was done in compliance to international standards for baggage screenings. The new upgrades render the airport in compliance with the European Civil Aviation Conference, the Department of Transport in the UK, and the Transport Security Administration of the US, as well as national security standards. The state-of-the-art scanners worth $330,000 were procured by the Airport and Aviation Services as a direct investment.
ආරක්ෂාව තවදුරටත් තර කිරීම සඳහා නැවත මේ ජාත්‍යන්තර ගුවන්තොටුපළ ආරම්භ කරාට පස්සේ ඒ සඳහා පාවිච්චි කිරීමට අපි තවත් එක්ස්රේ යන්ත්‍ර 6ක් ලංකාවට ගෙන්නන්න ලැබුවා. මේ එක්ස්රේ යන්ත්‍රවල මීටර් ඉස්සරට තුනකට වඩා හුඟක් පහසුකම් එකේ එසේම එම සියලුම බඩු බාහිර ආදිය හරියාකාරව පරීක්ෂා කිරීමට අවශ්‍ය පහසුකම් සහ එකම එක්ස්ප්ලෝසිව්ස් ගෙනාවොත් ඒවත් පරීක්ෂා කිරීම සඳහා අවශ්‍ය පහසුකම් මේ යන්ත්‍රයේ තිබෙනවා. මේක මම හිතනවා අපේ ඉදිරියේදී අපගේ ජාත්‍යන්තර ගුවන්තොටුපළේ ආරක්ෂාව ඒකම අනිකුත් සියලුම ජාත්‍යන්තර ගුවන්තොටුපළ ලංකාවේ තියෙන ආරක්ෂා වැඩි කිරීම සඳහා මේ අපට ඉතා අවශ්‍ය වෙනවා ඒකම පහසුකමක් සලසනවා කියලා මා හිතනවා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. යාන්සිං අපිට දීලා තියෙන උපදෙස් මත එසේම අපගේ සිවිල් ඒවියේෂන් එකෙන් අපිට දීලා තියෙන උපදෙස් මත තමයි මේක ක්‍රියාත්මක කරේ. මේ ආකාරයෙන් ඉදිරියටත් කොවිඩ් සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි මීට ඉස්සෙල්ලා අපි දන්නවා අපට අවශ්‍ය කැමරා සහ අනිකුත් උපකරණ සියල්ලම ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. ඒකම මේවා තවදුරටත් ඉදිරියටත් අපි තවත් උපකරණ ගැනීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
More news on the other side of this break. Stay tuned.
කොරෝනා වෛරසය පැතිරීම වළක්වන්න සබන් යොදා දෑත් සෝදන්න.
Welcome back. In more news, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa attended a slew of rallies organised by the candidates of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna contesting the upcoming election from the Gampaha district. During one such stop yesterday, upon a request made by the students, the President ordered the renovation of the Poramadulla Central College grounds, with work commencing in less than 24 hours. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa arrived in Biyagama this afternoon to participate in a series of public rallies organised by Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna candidates contesting the general election from the district of Gampaha. The first stop for the President was the Siambalape Junction, where he attended a gathering organised by SLPP candidate Dulip Wijesekara.
Private tender CTP. ගන්න 50000කට වඩා. ඉතින් ඒ කට්ටිය පොඩ ගේනවා. එතකොට එයාට තුලත් වෙනවා.
Thereafter, President Gotabaya joined a rally organised by SLPP candidate Lasantha Alagiyawanna in the area of Dalupitiya in Mahara. The President then attended another gathering organised by SLPP candidate Nimal Lanza at the Matagoda Stadium in Vattala. Meanwhile, visiting the Poramarulla Central College grounds yesterday, President Gotabaya took into account a request made by the students to conclude renovations of the half-completed college grounds. The President immediately notified the Army Commander about the request made by the students yesterday.
ශමින්ද්‍ර වදන්නේ අර පොරමඩුල්ල සෙන්ට්‍රල් කොලෙජ් එක ෆේමස්. ඒකම අපි එකපාරක් හදුවා ස්විමින් පූල් එක. ඒකේ half done තියනවා මේ ground එක. රවිගෙන එකයි ground එකයි. මේ අන්න එක හදා එවන්නකො කට්ටිය.
Accordingly, less than 24 hours later, the Army commenced renovation work on the grounds and its pavilion. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa accused the Samagi Jana Balawege of giving out different versions of policies in different parts of the country and playing a duplicitous game. The Prime Minister made these comments at a campaign rally in Homagama in support of candidate Dr. Bandula Gunawardena today.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa attended a campaign rally in Homagama in support of Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna Colombo district candidate Dr. Bandula Gunawardena.
2015 වෙදි ජනාධිපති මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන අගමැති රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ උන් ටික දවසකින් විරසක වුණා. උනාට පස්සේ මොකද වුනේ? ජනාධිපතිවරයා කියන දේ අගමැති කරේ නැහැ, කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය කරේ නැහැ. කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය අගමැති කියන දේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා කරේ නැහැ. රටම අවුල් වුණා. ඔවුන්ගේ ප්‍රතිපත්තිවත් ඔවුන්ට ක්‍රියාත්මක කරගන්න බැරි වුණා. දැක්කම මේ කොළඹ නගරින් තරඟ කරන සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාසලා. එතුමා යාපනයට ගිහිල්ලා එකක් කියනවා. දකුණට ඇවිල්ලා තා එකක්. එතුමා යෝජනා කරනවා. උතුරු නැගෙනහිර එකතු කරලා දෙන විසඳුමක් ලබා දීම අපි කරනවා කියලා. හැබැයි දකුණට ඇවිල්ලා කියන්නේ ඊට වඩා ටිකක් වෙනස් කතාවක්. ඉතින් මේ වගේ දෙපටි කතා කියන්න අද ඔවුන් සූදානම් වෙලා ඉන්නවා. මේ වගේ අය විශ්වාස කරන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ.
UNP leader Ranil Wickremesinghe accused the government of pawning off a staggering $4.5 trillion of state assets in the United States to face what he termed a titanic economic crisis. He made these comments while addressing an election propaganda event in Ratnapura.
An election propaganda event organised in support of United National Party candidates was worked off under the patronage of its leader Ranil Wickremesinghe in Ratnapura yesterday.
ටයිටැනික් ආර්ථික අර්බුදයට විසඳුමක් නැති නිසා පොහොට්ටු ආණ්ඩුව අපේ සම්පත් උගස්තියන්ට යනවා. MCC කිවිසුම ඒ වගේම අත්සන් කරන්න යනවා. අද ලංකාවට කිසිම ආධාරයක් නැහැ. දැන් මේකට බය වෙලා තියෙනවා. කොහොමද ක්‍රියා කරන්නේ? දැන් මොකක්ද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මේ ටයිටැනික් අර්බුදය එක්ක? දැන් කොහොමද මේ අය මේ මූණ දෙන්නේ? මාර්ගයක් නැහැ. විසඳුමට කියනවා ඇමරිකාවේ මහ බැංකුවෙන් රීපෝ කිවිසුමකට යන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. ඒ මොකද්ද කියන්නේ? භාණ්ඩාගාරයේ ලේකම්තුමා කියලා තියෙනවා අපි ඇමරිකාවේ මහ බැංකුවේ නිව්යෝර්ක් ශාඛාවෙන් ඉල්ලලා තියෙනවා කියලා ඩොලර් බිලියනයක් අද තියෙන ටයිටැනික් අර්බුදයට මුහුණ දෙන්න ඩොලර් බිලියනයක් මදි මිලියන 1000ක් මදි ඒ සඳහා ලංකාවේට අයිති ඇමරිකාවේ තියෙන වත්කම් ටික උගස් තියනවා කියලා මේ ආණ්ඩුව ගිහින් අපේ ඇමරිකාවේ තියෙන ඒ තමයි ඩොලර් බිලියන 4500ක් වටිනා ඇමරිකාවේ සුරකුම්පත් හා බැඳුම් කර ඒ සියල්ලම උගස් තියනවා මේ 1000 දෙන්න.
Samagi Jana Balawege leader Sajid Premadasa says that his plan to provide a ₹20,000 monthly allowance to vulnerable families will be implemented in the same manner that the late Ranasinghe Premadasa provided free school lunches, uniforms and the Jana Savya program through state funds. The former opposition leader made these comments at an election rally held at the Bandaravilla Municipal Council auditorium today.
Samagi Jana Balawege leader Sajid Premadasa attended a rally in support of the party's candidates in Bandaravilla today.
අද 20000 වැඩසටහනට පොහොට්ටුවත් බය වෙලා පොහොට්ටුවට ජැක් ගහන කණ්ඩායමුත් බය වෙලා. දැන් පොහොට්ටුවයි ඩීල් කණ්ඩායමයි ප්‍රශ්න කරනවා කොහොමද සජිත් 20000 දෙන්නේ කියලා. මම මේ ඇත්තොන්ට කියන්න කැමති සජිත් 20000 දෙන්නේ රණසිංහ ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමා ජනසවිය දුන්නා වගේ. සජිත් 20000 දෙන්නේ රණසිංහ ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමා 43 ලක්ෂයකට නිලංගුම් දුන්නා වගේ 43 ලක්ෂයකට දිවාහාර දුන්නා වගේ මතක තියාගන්න අපි ජනතාවට එකක් කියලා තවත් එකක් කරන දෙබිඩි දේශපාලන අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නේ නැහැ. යහපාලනයේ ගේනවායි කියලා අපි මහ බැංකු හොරගම් කරන කණ්ඩායමක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
We'll return after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. In your business news, the central bank's inflation report for the month of June showed an increase in headline inflation up to 6.3%, driven mainly by significant increases in the prices of food category items. Further, year-on-year core inflation increased to 4.4% in June 2020 from 3.7% in May 2020.
Headline inflation, as measured by the year-on-year change in the National Consumer Price Index, increased to 6.3% in June 2020 from 5.2% in May 2020, driven mainly by the monthly increase in prices of items in the food category. Accordingly, year-on-year food inflation increased to 13.6% in June 2020 from 11.1% in May 2020, while year-on-year non-food inflation remained unchanged at 0.8% in June 2020. Meanwhile, the change in the NCPI, measured on an annual average basis, increased to 5.6% in June 2020 from 5.2% in May 2020. The monthly change of the NCPI, recorded at 1.4% in June 2020, was mainly due to the increases observed in prices of items in the food category. Accordingly, within the food category, prices of 7 food items including vegetables, sugar, fresh fish, eggs and rice increased significantly during the month. Further, year-on-year core inflation increased to 4.4% in June 2020 from 3.7% in the previous month, while annual average core inflation decreased to 4.6% in June from 4.8% in May.
The central bank has announced a decision to pay compensation payments to depositors of ETI Finance and Swarna Mahal Financial Services from the Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme after the suspension of the company's businesses from the 13th of August 2020 onwards. Accordingly, payments are set to commence from 25th August 2020 through select People's Bank branches throughout the country, with the maximum compensation of Rs 600,000 per depositor. Accordingly, the necessary funds for paying compensations to all the depositors or legal beneficiaries confirmed by the companies has already been allocated by the Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme. Depositors of ETIFL and SFSP are requested to submit original deposit certificates, identification details and other required documents to the respective People's Bank branch. Sri Lankan stocks fell 0.29% at the end of market trade today. The old share price index down 14.66 points to 5,019.79, while the S&P SL20 index of more liquid stocks slipped 0.69% or 15 points to 2,158.61. Market turnover amounted to 788 million rupees, where 53 stocks gained while 77 fell. Here's a brief report on today's market performance.
As for the continuous from the yesterday's downturn, today also market for start with a very dull sentiment and market closed for a second consecutive day in a negative territory, and whole share price index closed around 5,019, closing 14 points, and Standard & Poor closing 2,158, losing 15 points. And today market in the starting experienced a volatile sideways movement till the midday of the day and recording a downtrend due to the selling pressures in John Keells and selective banking counters, and closed at a 5,020 in losing 15 points. And turnover mainly coming from the banking sectors and especially from HNB voting and non-voting, and today turnover boosted by the crossings which are made in John Keells holding and HNB and non-voting. And for the retail side, we saw very heavy trading activities.
The rupee closed flat at 185 rupees and 75 to 85 cents to the US dollar in the spot market today, while bond yields picked up marginally. However, the rupee closed at 185 rupees and 75 to 88 cents to the greenback yesterday. Now let's have a look at how the rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. With that, we wrap up tonight's edition of First at 9. Thank you for joining. I'm Shanella Fernando. Good night.